All right, I'm gonna try one more. This is one of my all-time favorites. This is the sort of thing that I do if I only do one. If there's a situation where I only get to do one thing and it's not out of a situation, but where I know what I'm going to do, this is the one I always do. And the way this works, I know I've shown you this before, but it doesn't matter. It's really, really nice. I think I like it. Anyway, a point being is you do that if you want to. First part is really just the technical part because I want to talk about what I say when I do this. I say when I do this with the four queens, I say very special cards because they represent all the women in the world, and you know what they say: women will chew you up and spit you out. And put that over here, put the queens over there, and you get to pick, let's say an ace. Let's just say ace, 2, 3, just for fun. Ace, 2, 3. And those are the victims. So if you've ever been in love, you know what it's like to be in love. Um, you know what women will do to you. You enjoy the ladies. You enjoy what women stand for, and that's the first one. And you get chewed up. I mean, you forget that you even exist, and you know all that's left is four queens. In this case, you've lost yourself completely. And I don't know if you know this, but being in love, biochemically speaking, is indistinguishable from having a severe OCD, from actually having a psychosis. This is true. This is medically true because you do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. You're completely lost there. And even if you have a bit of life experience and you say, well, I do enjoy a beautiful woman, or whomever you might enjoy, but I'm not going to be quite sucked in. I just enjoy my time there. And I'm not talking about women of negotiable affection. I'm just talking about a very nice lady. But after a while, you can't help yourself. I mean, there, one look and whatever, and all that's left is four ladies, and then they get to look at them, of course, and I'll talk about why I do what I do in a second. And then, of course, that's only the first part. The first part is that women will chew you up. That's the fun part, but the second part is I'll spit you back out again, and that's what happens. So there's, it's kind of idiotic to do this for a camera. I usually, as I've mentioned to you before, when I do things, there's a lot of interaction. You do the same thing. There tends to be more interaction. But very briefly, I know you've taped this once on an iPod. I don't usually do this. I just did this because I'm trying to stay in frame. Usually what I do is you have four queens, you produce them however you want to. Coincidentally, I don't necessarily do a big fancy production there. What I like to do sometimes is you do a box and you hold a break where you cut a quarter from the bottom, and then you cut the cards in half and you just shuffle everything above that break, and then from there you can do a very fair running cut. And I think lay people appreciate that sort of thing too. And you shuffle again, and you shuffle two cards on top, let's say, and then you zero under the two cards. And then the last shuffle is when you just really shuffle, and they come from the center and they come to the top, and just turning them over sometimes I think is more effective than one of the more fancy sort of things, but whatever. And I do talk about women will chew you up and spit you out. There's a lot that I say here. One of the reasons why I wanted to tape this is because it's not just a question of it being technically brilliant, but there's also a lot about the patter here. But so this one I'll just briefly do on the technique. So you got to get rid of one of those. Usually I copy it and then I add it, but however you want to do this, and you set those aside. You have three cards, one, whatever, two, and a 3. I don't even have a 3. Yeah, there you go. So you do that again, Derek Dingle, a Derek Dingle version of the Vernon add-on. You take the first card. The first card you can actually show. I mean, this is why I think it's so brilliant, because the first card you can actually show. It goes in here. Very good. You show this one. I can show it again. Then you do an Elmsley count, but you can very clearly show it's only 4 cards, and you cut the cards, and you show them again. Single, 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 and you show the last single. It's really only 4 cards. Then you do a double lift with what's left here. You do a double lift, you show this card. Now you can't show it again as you did the first time around, but you can show that it's really just 5 cards, and so you emphasize 2 on top, 2 below. There's only 5 cards, yada yada, this, that, and the other. And you turn them face up, and now you can show the faces very clearly. 1, 2, and to them the vanish happens right here. And 3, 4 queens. And you reverse count them. And then you do it's nice if you do it. It looks like you're just playing. You're doing the Crenzel pressure hideout, and then you count them again. 1, 2, 3, and the double goes on top, but you keep a break after the first 2. So you're holding a break above the bottom 2, which are the ones that you need to get rid of. And then you do a one-handed second, and you do that move. You told me the name of that move. I keep forgetting this move, but you know the move. Add those 2. You take the top, and I swear to God, this is one of the best false counts that I know, where you're just recounting this one card, because they expect there to be 5 cards. That very simple little thing of recounting that card twice is very, very effective. Far more effective than any of the more, because they expect that to be the case. So they actually buy that. You do this. And then as far as a fake move goes, you can do all of that you've done before, except that you're not hiding anything. And then let's pretend that, I like to pretend that the card is now on top, or the double card is now on top. You do that again. And you can do it again, and you do that lay down, except that it's really just a single card. So you can do all of these things that you ordinarily would do, and you know that you have them by the time that they reach for the cards, and they do reach for the cards if they're not that polite. If they're slightly less, if they're slightly more polite, and you've given the cards, and they always want to look at the cards, and they always want to look at this card. And this is also, in my opinion, it's just brilliant. This is Andrew Wimhurst's idea of doing the Carney Versa switch, but only with a 3 here, and you can set aside the deck proper, and you use those cards to pick up the last one. So now they forgot that you even handled the deck, which of course you had to for the method, but they forget. Now you do the same thing again, which you've just shown, and you've shown it to be quite fair and above board. Now you can do it again. Now they have absolutely no reason to not believe that there's not. Plus they already also just looked at the cards. They have no reason to think that there's anything other than the 4 queens. And then you deal a bottom and a top. The nice thing is, bottoms from this small packet are very, very easy and very, very deceptive, because it's just such a small packet. And secondly, the cards that come off the top are the ones they're looking for. They expect the queens to be there, but they don't expect, so you can actually kind of slow down on those. So that's utterly brilliant in my opinion. And it's also one of the, I can't do this here because I can't move the camera, it's also one of the few things, few effects where I do what Darwin Ortiz always insists on, and coming up and showing your face and blah 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 and so on and so forth. It's technically, I think it's brilliant. Also, it deserves a strong story, and the reason why I like it that much is because, not only because it's technically utterly brilliant, it's the best version of Cannibal Cards that I know of, but also because Ortiz said, well, you should have your own story. And women will chew you up and spit you out, and you talk about biochemistry and falling in love and so on and so forth. And I don't do that tongue-in-cheek, because it deserves a strong story. And there is this saying that women will chew you up and spit you out. And I mean, there's a few lines that I use. I use the line, the trick's not very good, but the story is very strong. Of course, the trick is very good, but the line is from Juan Tamariz. I also use the line more often than not, the story, Women of Negotiable Affections. That's from Alan Ackerman. And Anyway, so that's what I do, and it gets a fantastic reaction, and also the reappearance gets a great reaction, and it's one of my all-time favorite effects to do. Anyway, just so now you have it for your collection. Okay, bye.